Let me flip you around. Hi guys, welcome in. Welcome in, welcome in. Give me 2 seconds here. I gotta flip you around. Hi. Nope, you can't do that no more. Sorry.
Really?
Yes.
You got banned again?
Hi guys, how is everyone doing? Welcome to the Constitution Connection. I'm excited you guys are here. Give me a second. I've been running. Oh my gosh. How is everyone doing? Tell me about your day. Favorite part?
Mama, what?
Hmm?
Can I go outside?
Mm-hmm. How is everybody? Thank you guys for the likes. Welcome in. I'm going to give it a minute before we start. Heather, welcome in. Just a normal fan, welcome in. City Blues, welcome in. Barbie the Betty, what is up, girl? Oh my gosh. Hi, guys. Oh, I'm so excited you guys are here with me. Happy Constitution Day. Oh my gosh, you guys. What is up? Your favorite part, City Blues, was getting off work. Thank you for the heart, me. I feel you on that. I feel you. And welcome in, you guys. Yay. I'm so happy for the 6 of you that are here. Barbie the Bettis, thank you for the roses, girl. You're here just in time for the first day of the Constitution Connection. Thank you for the heart signal. Oh my gosh, thank you. Thank you so much for lighting up the rose in my gift gallery. Thank you so much. You guys, if you don't know Barbie, follow her. She's wonderful. Thank you for coming in and thank you for all those gifts. Thank you. You guys, thank you so much, Bonnie. Heather, thank you for the friendship necklace. You guys are awesome. Thank you guys so much. Aww. You guys make me feel so loved, and I'm so happy you are here. Heather, thank you for the perfume. Oh my gosh, you guys. You're gonna make me blush, and we are 5 minutes into class. Thank you for the donuts, Heather. Barbie is still going with the roses. Thank you guys. Thank you. Welcome in, you guys. I did not expect 5 people off the bat. We had 8 people sign up, of which I am so thankful. Heather, thank you for the finger hearts. Not expect 5 people off the bat. We had 8 people sign up, of which I am so thankful. Heather, thank you for the finger hearts. See you. Making sure my connection is going haywire, you guys. It's been acting up all day, but it's good right now. 1.5K likes. Thank you for the roses, Barbie. Thank you so much, you guys. You guys are amazing. Thank you. I appreciate all of the support. Thank you guys so much. We are here on Constitution Day, on the first day of the Constitution Connection, you guys. Oh, thank you. Where's my clappy? Thank you, Barbie. Thank you, Heather. Thank you, everybody. Oh my gosh. Heather, you just reached member level 14. Oh my goodness. Or was that Barbie? Who was that? Yes. It was Heather. But thank you all. Port City 214, thank you for coming in. Thank you all for being here. I am super excited. I've been like prepping all day, you guys. For reals prepping. I'm so excited to be here with you all. Heather, welcome in. Everybody, welcome in. We're gonna get to know each other first before we dive right in. But I have some great stuff I'm excited to share with you guys on our first day. Heather using her subby stickers. Okay. I love my subby stickers. You guys, it was so sad to have to pick between all of them and go down from what? We had like 30 to like, I don't know. Like, we had to go down to like 15 or something like that. Forgive my sweaty looking self, y'all. Barbie, still going with the roses. Thank you so much. Thank you for the love, you guys. I so appreciate it. And the Rosa. Thank you, Heather. I look sweaty. I can see it glistening. Ooh, yeah. Thank you for the cap and mustache. Thank you, Barbie. Oh my goodness, I'm like sweating so bad. I might have to go change into a shirt before we start. Unknown 1737, welcome in. Welcome in, you guys. I was gonna work on getting the rest of my setup set up, but it didn't happen. I was more worried about the content. Quality over quantity, am I right? What? Okay, well, I don't know what you're gonna do. But you can't be in my live no more.
I have homework. I have homework.
Where is it?
In my book bag.
Okay, hold on one second. I'm flipping you guys around. Sorry, guys. Okay, hurry up and go. Come on. Yep. Love ya.
Love ya.
Okay, flipping you guys back around. Yay. I'm so excited. So excited. Thank you guys again for being here. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Tatiana. I go by Lucky Llama on the app. I love y'all. Thank you guys for signing up. Thank you for being here. I'm very excited about the next 7 weeks. Super excited. My surgery went well, for those of you that knew. So yeah, it went really well. I'm happy. I'm home, recovering. Happy that it's finally done. And hopefully, no more surgeries that are not of my choice. Nora, welcome in. Welcome in. Hi. So yes, so that's the update on me. I thinky. Okay, so drop a 1 in the chat if you guys signed up or if you guys saw that this class was happening today. Wonderful, Nora. I'm glad to hear that. Heather's got a 1 in the chat. Heather did sign up. I'm so happy she did. There's still time, you guys. There's still time. Or don't sign up and just be here. I love you for it. City Blues USA, yay! Yay to all of you guys. Okay, so let's see. Was that everybody pretty much? Yes. Okay. Great. Wonderful. We're going to get started because I know people are going to be filtering in, and I also know Heather has to go get ready for her live. So I want everybody to be able to digest a majority of the information without losing people's attention span as humanly possible. I'm open to feedback, so you guys let me know if if you have any anything you want to hear more about or anything like that. So also there'll be like a session question at the end. So I want to run down before we start though all of the rules. We shouldn't have to lay them down, but I'm gonna lay them down anyway because I know City Blues and Heather, I know both of you will follow all the rules already, and I don't have to say it to you, but there might be people filtering in that I do have to say it to. So the rules of this, okay, and also before I start, do you guys see my mug? Wait, let me unmirror. Okay, Do you guys see it? Okay, I've been waiting for this class to start so I could use it. Okay. Yay. Okay, so, yes. Isn't it great, Heather? I love it. And the frog, he made it so much better. I had to have it. I had to have it. And it went on sale, too. Like, I put it on my wish list. Like, the next day, they're like, hey, this is on sale. I was like, I'm buying it. So, it's great. And sums up my sentiments a little bit. So, here we go from that. Rules. All I'd ask is that if you signed up to mod for whichever class, my goal is to like not overwhelm people, so you might only need to mod like 1 or 2 classes out of the entire 7 weeks. That was kind of my goal. I had about 4 different people sign up for modding. Let me get this shared out. Sorry, I know some of you are here, but I'm just gonna go down the line here. That'll get some people in here, hopefully. Okay, so I'm trying to think of like who else signed up. So many of you guys, it's hard to remember all 8 of you. 2 of you are here, so that means there's 6 people. Darn. I should have had this planned out. Oh well, we'll just send it to this. Trying to remember. Try to remember. Oh, great, Nora. I hope you have a great practice. Okay, so rules. I just ask that if you signed up to mod and like I will previously previously contact you, be like, hey, is it okay if you can mod for such and such a class? So it won't be like off random that you guys are that I would ask that you mod. But I would ask that if you do mod, plan on staying for like, thank you, Heather, for the shares, and thank you, City Blues. I see you liking it up. Yay! Good job, Nora. I'm excited for you. But I do ask that if you signed up that you're able to be there for at least an hour of the course. So, because I have heard a lot of people say that they're seeing more trolls. And then also the contents of each of these is going to get a little dicey navigating TikTok's rules and regulations. So, I expect that we will probably have a lot more... that will probably have a lot more trolls filter in as we get closer and closer to the class. So that's why I asked if people were interested in modding. So don't let that drive you away from modding. If for some reason you're like, I can only be there for 30 minutes tonight, just let me know so that I know. And then there might be someone else who's available to take the time that you're not able to mod. So that's all I ask, is that just the communication if you're modding. I know this isn't your job or anything. So thank you so much, Heather, for the 2 finger hearts. So I know this isn't your job or nothing, so I'm not like, time clocking you or anything like that. But just for the sake of the enjoyment of everybody who's coming in and signed up for the class, that's what I ask of my mods. Mods do all the typical modding things, boot people if you have to. I have a little document signed for it. Okay, I just remembered someone else who signed up, sorry. Okay, she might have already got it. But I do plan on putting together a little document. It's just not something that I got to before our first day of class. So, Bowl Cuts, welcome in. You signed up too. Hi, girl. Thank you. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. We're just running down rules here before we get started with the class. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's okay. We literally like haven't even gotten to the meat and the potatoes. Thank you for the heart me. Thank you. Awesome, Heather. Yes, thank you, thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, let me make sure. Let's see here. Thank you for the finger heart. Thank you guys for helping me achieve that flash goal. I rarely get my flash goals. I think last time I got it. Cassandra, thank you for coming. Yay! Happy Constitution Day for those of you that are just coming here. Yay! Thank you for jumping on. Yes, I'm so glad you did too. We haven't even started, really. We're just going over all of the rules and the stuff like that. Thank you, Cassandra. I feel like I need it. Bowl cuts, I am feeling good. I'm doing okay. I have a little bit of pain, but I took some pain meds before I jumped on, so I could be all like, woo! We cannot be a downer on Constitution Day. That's all I know. Especially not when we're starting our class. But thank you for asking. Yes, my surgery went well. For those of you that are just joining, I've been home, I've been resting, been staying on top of my pain meds, and my husband and all of you, Llama fam, have really been keeping me in check to not do a lot of stuff, you know, and stay within doctor's orders, because we all know we need it. So thank you for that. So yes, welcome in. Happy Constitution Day. It is actually Constitution Day on the start of our class, the Constitution Connection. I'm so excited about it. So I was just going over, hang on, let me make sure, Heather, let me make sure here. There we go. Okay, so if you guys marked yes for the mods, I was just saying that I would like if you could be, like, just in communication. I know, like, this is a volunteer thing, so I'm not going to be all over anybody about it. But I do know that the trolls are increasing, and so that is the reason that I kind of wanted, like, one mod at least for, you know, per class. So there's some of you that I might ask to do 2 classes. I have a document that I'm working on, just talking about what I'd like to see from my mods, like simple things, pinning, to help keep the conversation flowing, like, you know, asking, you know, questions pertinent if there's questions, any question that you have really relevant to the material, and then booting people. We're all very smart people here, so if you see it and it's not appropriate, boot it. I don't want to play with nobody, because this content is already going to be walking a fine line, you know, and so we don't need trolls, like, thrown into the mix. So if you see someone that is being disrespectful, don't boot anybody who is genuinely asking a legitimate question. I don't want that. So if the question seems like or you think you have somebody that you might want to boot, if you're in the Discord, put it in there, in the Constitution Connection section. If you are not, you can put a 3 in the chat, and I'll kind of review the comments, because the other reason I really need mods is because while I'm teaching, I'm going to be following my notes, and also I have a whiteboard in front of me that you guys seen when you're coming in, so I plan on, like, writing a lot of stuff up there so that everybody who can follow along, if you want to follow along. And then also, all of the classes, if you can't stay for the whole time, will be uploaded to my Tube of You, so you can catch up with them there. And if anybody's like, hey, what's going on with the Constitution Connection, you can direct them to my YouTube page, and yeah, they'll be able to find all the content there as well. So yay! Happy Constitution Day, you guys. Thank you for being here. If you have questions about modding, go ahead and send me a DM. I think even if you guys send me a DM about a person, it should pop up, I think, on my chat. So, or like, so that I can see it. And then that will allow for a little easier conversation. So yes, I will be getting in touch with you if you marked yes for modding on your form that you filled out for this class. And I think that's it. If you have any questions, let me know. But we're all about promoting positivity, genuine curiosity and questions, and joy, all the good things. So If it's not a godly attribute, they probably should be blocked. Okay, so that's that. We are going to be starting today. Oh, the other rules. Rules for participants. Just respect is all I ask. Genuine curiosity and participation. I am going to do both. Does everybody who signed up, are all of you okay with being in a box? Because that's my next question. Or if you're not okay with being in a box, just let me know if you are okay with being in a box so I can send you a invite. Because I want everybody to be able to, I want to promote discussion as easy as possible. And since TT likes to filter a lot of things, it's going to be a lot easier to facilitate discussion if you're in a box. But if you want to stay in the comments, that is totally fine with me too. Yay! Okay, so while you guys are letting me know, okay, that's okay, Heather. Cassandra, you're fine with it? Okay, let me get, I think, there we go. Okay, I think I just sent you. Okay, bowl cuts, that's totally fine. So as people come in, I'll just send out invites to them. So when you are modding, know that you can send invites to people as they come in. Yay! Let's make sure it's all loading. Hi, Cassandra!
Hello.
How are you, girl?
I'm good. I'm happy to see you.
Yes, you too. Thank you for coming up.
I'll mute though and let you do your thing.
All right, girl. I appreciate you. Okay, so we're gonna get started. So just be watching for people. You can feel free to shoot them an invite for the boxes as they come in. If they so desire, they can accept the invite. If they would like to say in the comments, they can do that as well. Participants will get rewarded. Sorry. Okay. So let's start. So for the class today, we are going to start way back. We're going to start before the 16th century. Okay. This is really the meat and potatoes of where we're starting. The reason we're starting here is because there are a lot of things that built up to say, like, things that we recognize, like, Alexander Hamilton, like John Adams, Thomas Jefferson, like all those names were not really existent until later on. We don't even really start to hear about them until later on. And so I chose to start and give you guys a basic rundown of, like, before anything was anything. This was, except Britain. Great Britain was established and they had their own everything. And does anybody know, for the first question, okay, I'm getting ahead of myself, actually. Let me pause. Let me ask this. What is government? Like, to you, what is government? And let me get my little notes here. Why do we need it? So let's start there. So we've already established that Great Britain had a government. And we want to look at, like, what was the purpose? Why even have a government, and what does that look like? Anybody, everybody, scream.
I can raise my hand.
Okay.
It's a system meant for planning rules and regulations, but also protections and order in general of people within a certain border. At least that's my understanding.
Yes, great answer. I'm trying to pin here. If Heather, if you can grab bowl cuts too. So Cassandra is right too. Pretty much it's a set of rules and regulations that everybody understands that's used to maintain order, law and order, like Heather's saying, like bowl cuts is saying. So you guys are spot on. This was the purpose of government, and the need for government was because as we've gone through time, we've realized that people cannot effectively govern themselves. Some people will be able to if they're in a certain, morals and things like that. But ultimately, it's been discovered that within human nature, I can't either, Heather. I don't know. It's okay. We'll figure it out later. You guys are right. Yes, Heather, Cassandra, and Bullcuts, all of your answers are correct. So that is why we looked at the organization of government. Now, government has not always also been able to govern itself, but government has done a better job of governing than letting people run amok. That's generally what the consensus has been, is that we need a set rules that everybody is following. Otherwise, everybody will run amok. Fave Ashley, welcome in. And so, yes, government versus anarchy. That is essentially what it is. If we do not have government, we will have anarchy. There's not really an in-between. There's been tons of social studies that if you guys are interested, you can go check out and look. And they've done also lots of social studies on, okay, Fave Ashley, thank you. Thank you for being here. So there's been tons of social studies done that, talks about and studies the relationship of people and government and anarchy versus, and there's also several different several different kinds of government. So you'll see them appear. You'll see these different terms and these different types of government show up through this as we go through all of this, and you'll see how and why, even more importantly than how. Kaylee Brown, welcome in, yay! So you'll see how and why that our government kind of became as it is. Kaylee, if you'd like to be in a box, girl, I will bring you up. Let me see if I can. This is all being very weird. Anyway, Kaylee, if you'd like to come up in a box, let me know. Just send me a little invite. I'm gonna go grab a pen, marker for this board.
Mom?
What?
I need help with my homework.
Okay, you're gonna have to wait. Okay, Kaylee, you are totally fine, girl. You're totally fine. Okay.
Do tomorrow.
Okay, I'll help you in a little bit when I get off this. But you're gonna have to wait.
Aww.
Love you.
What do we do tomorrow?
Yep, I'll help you before bed.
I'm not good with the race.
Oh, you might be right, Heather. Okay, you might be right. Sorry, guys. It always never wants to do that until I'm on live, I swear. Okay. So I'm going to flip this around so I can write for you guys.
Dad's asleep, so he can't help me.
He's not asleep.
Yes, he is. I went in his room. He's asleep.
Okay.
I'm not good with the race.
Oh, your fave Ashley, thank you for all the roses. Okay, so here's where we're starting. Sorry, guys. I thought I was ready, but it's going to be a little rocky.
I'm not good with the race.
Okay.
Oh, just help.
Dad says get there.
What?
I'm about to figure it. He said go upstairs. Oh, thank you, Fave Ashley, for the tiny hot dogs. Okay, so where we're starting is right before the 16th century. At this point, it was pretty much a thank you for the tiny dinies. Thank you, Fave Ashley. So before the 16th century, there was two separate worlds, essentially. There was the New World, what we hear referred to as the New World, which eventually became America, and you had Great Britain, right? The people that were inhibiting the New World, as they called it, were, does anybody know? I'm going to ask you guys if anybody knows. Does anybody know who inhabited, thank you, babe Ashley, who inhabited the New World before Great Britain even tried to colonize? Just throw it in the chat. Do 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 do. Close, Cassandra's. Who were the people? Who are the people that were here? Yeah, like I think you're asking. Sorry. Yes. So, the indigenous people, Native Americans, were the people who were here. And so this is where we're starting, which Native Americans encompasses a lot of people, and that's why Cassandra is referring to them as indigenous. So the people that were here were the indigenous peoples, and believe it or not, they actually already had everything set up. They already had government, they had a form of government, they had their own religions, they had their own colonies and all of that. It was pretty complex. We won't really get into a whole lot of that complexity. I would have to get you guys a follow-up or something if you guys are more interested in what that looked like. However, we're going to focus more on where we're starting, which is those were the people that were here. And we're talking around like 1500s, okay? We're talking like late 1500s is when all of this stuff, this is where we're starting for the purposes of this class. Late 1500s, before the beginning of the 16th century, because by the 16th century, people were already, it was a huge thing, and you'll see why. Okay, so the Native Americans were here, and in we're going to start about around 1513. A man by the name of Juan Ponce de Leon, I believe is how you pronounce the name. He arrived in what we know now as Florida. And does anybody know what he came here searching for? Any settler, pretty much. Any English settler came here looking for the same things. It's okay, Lassie. Welcome in. We just started. We are in the 16th century, or right before the 16th century. It was not Christopher Columbus, but that is a really good guess. I think that is usually it's usually where your history classes started in like high school. But this was a guy named Juan Ponce de Leon, and we are talking about what did he come here looking for. Shy, welcome in. Hey, girl, hey. City Blues, no. Shy, it's going. It's Constitution Day, Shy. He was French. Yes. Oh, Douglas, thank you. That's my little rascals. That's my thank you. Yes, resources. Welcome in, Douglas. Thank you so much for that. What is so real? Oh, resources? Or Constitution Day? Yes, Cassandra. Yes. Constitution Day. It is Constitution Day. It is in honor of the day that the Constitution was not ratified because that's July 4th, but when they started the Constitution Convention. And we're starting our class, the Constitution Connection, on the day. I just thought it was appropriate. So Juan Ponce de Leon, he came in search of resources and wealth, specifically gold. So he was looking for gold and other fortunes that he referred to in his writings as the fountain of youth, which he soon found was not so youthful, minus the fact that, it was a bunch of war. So if youth was meaning like dying young, then I guess he found it. Anyway, so that was in 1513, you guys. Let me help keep track of this also for my own sake because my notes are kind of scrambled. Okay. I'm just going to write his name down. This will also help if you guys want to look it up. Okay. I'm going to have to figure out a better way to do all this whiteboard stuff. Okay. All right, so 1513, a guy named thanks, Lassie. A guy named Juan came in. And then in 1521, he came here searching for resources, which obviously, since people were already settled here, we don't really know what he told them regarding anything, but in 1521, he was fighting with a Native American tribe. Calusa, I believe is how you pronounce it. And he died of a poison-tipped arrow while they were fighting. So that was in 1521. I'll just write 1521. And he died. So then we're going to skip to, after this guy, I'm going to have to figure this out before next class, guys. Sorry. Okay. So the next thing that happened is that same, pretty much friends of the tribe, in 1597, they led an uprising in Florida because they started to realize that people who were coming there were going to fight them for their land and their resources that they had already established a government on, and religion, and all the stuff we talked about earlier. So in 1597, they got into their first, pretty much the first well-known uprising with the Spanish missionaries that were coming there, that they realized, hey, they want more than just, like trade and stuff like that. So in between this time, they kind of established like trade, that they were going to say, hey, we'll give you resources if you give us like wealth, because these were wealthy people that were traveling, not poor people. They were looking to establish a country. They weren't looking to just like come and live amongst people. So that's why you've seen this battle happen. So we're going to jump now to 1607. In 1607, this is there's other things that happen in between some of this stuff, you guys. So bear with me. If you have questions about them, let me know. In 1607, we have enough English settlers here that they were able to establish the first colony, which was established in Virginia, and it was called the Jamestown Colony. So this is the first time we see English settlers coming here, or Spanish missionaries. We're not quite to English settlers yet. Spanish missionaries coming here to take land and make it their own. And so after this fight, they pretty much won enough land to establish the first colony. They put a bunch of money into it. In 1606, they put a bunch of money into it. So that's one of the things that I skipped over. So 1606, it was called the Virginia Company. If you're looking to look it up, it's called the Virginia Company, and it sponsored 6,000. Hi, Justice. It sponsored 6,000 colonists. Obvious with money, they sponsored them by allowing them to build their homes, start businesses, all that kind of stuff. So they kind of acted almost as a bank to establish this colony by funding it. And just remember that number, 6,000. Okay, this first colony had about 6,000 settlers. In the first colony. Okay. So it was established the year before this colony, the Virginia Company. So keep that in mind, the Virginia Company. All right, moving on. So after 1607, we see in 1620, the same, well, not the same company. It wasn't the Virginia settlement, but in 1620, there was a settlement by New England. So in 1620, you see the second. So they pretty much were like, hey, guys, there is a bunch of land that we're trying to establish. So the settlement of New England, these are New England radicals, okay? These aren't people who are like mid-road, exploring, all that kind of thing, trying to see what was over here. No, they already knew. They already knew there was land. They already knew there was colonies being established. People are now coming over, and this settlement was established by Plymouth. I'm trying to think of the word. Pilgrims, sorry. They were established by pilgrims, strictly driven by religious motivations. And this is where I want to note that I'm just going to put religious over here, and I want to note something. Religion was the government, okay? So this is the first time that we see people who said, we want this religion, Christianity, to be the rule of law and the rule of spirituality. And so they came in and they built these settlements and tried to convert. This is where we see them try to colonize. This is really where it starts. They're trying to convert everybody to their belief. But it's important to note that religion was the government. At this point, religion was the government. There was no other like laws in place that were not a part of a religion, specifically Christianity, by the time that this second colony started in 1620. Okay, so the colony they established was called the Plymouth Colony. So they were very radical pilgrims, not no in between, not no, oh, we love our brother. Like, no, they believed that they had every religious right to the land, even though people were settled there. And already, basically, the religious text of the Native Americans said that as long as they were there, established and working the land, that land was theirs. That was their kind of like law. So they came in 1620. First time you hear about New England coming to settle. Prior to New England coming in, we're talking about Spain. So that's just something else to note, because there's a lot of confusion, I think. There's a lot of confusion about how we got where we were at. But it's good to note that the first people that got here were the Spanish settlers. They were from Spain. They came over. They were the first people. Remember that first battle we talked about, where they funded these 6,000 settlers? That was Spain. When you get here, when you get to here, you're talking about the English. Okay. Sorry. I'm going to make this better next time. Okay. So where we are right now, we're talking about the English. I'm just going to leave that for a minute. Okay. So after 1620, we're going to jump to 1632, and you will all understand why this is important. Okay, Kaylee. You will all understand why this is important in just a minute. 1632, I messed this up. Okay. Sorry, guys. I planned on having this all written out before so I could just run down, but we're going to have to make do today. So in 1620, I changed it because it wasn't really a colony. It was just a settlement of English people for religious reasons. And then 1632 was that second colony that they established. And the man that established it, his name was Cecilius Calvert. And when I heard his name, I'm not going to lie, the song that came to mind was, oh, Cecilia, you're breaking my heart. Okay, enough of that. Anyway, Cecilius Calvert was the man who established the second colony, known as the Chesapeake Colony, and right, Lassie, known as the Chesapeake Colony, and this was established in Maryland. Okay. So you see our 13 original colonies are forming. These are just people who are coming here as settlers, but Spain already tried to start crap. And then we have another like movement of settlers, right? Because they found it, or they gave all those people money to come. And then we see Maryland come in on the scene. Naive Metaphysics, welcome in, and form our second colony. Okay, that was in 1632. There was a war. I won't go into too much detail because it's fun to do, but I don't want to like run a bunch of stuff down trying to talk to you guys about all of this war. But I will tell you what it's called. They had several, okay, but this is one of the main ones. They had several. In 1622, there was another uprising by Chief Opa. It was pretty much uprisings. All the uprisings at this point happened by the indigenous people that were already settled here. Every time there was a war started, they started it, because by the time these people got here and formed this second colony, they're like, hey, they don't want to trade with us. They want our land, and they want our resources, our food, and they don't want to give us nothing for it. They just want to kill us or run us off the land, because they're starting to see, like, by these times these colonies were formed, you're starting to see like the first government. This colony had a government, this colony had a government, and these were peoples living inside the colonies, if that makes sense. Okay, Lassie. Okay, so we're at 1637. It was a big war, okay? This Poquet War killed tons of indigenous peoples. They did not win. Very, very few times, although they did have some triumphs, but very few times did indigenous people actually win wars with the settlers, because like I said, the settlers came here and they had money. They didn't come here poor. They came here with a lot of money. Thank you, Cassandra. I'm glad. I'm so glad. They came here with money because it that's just the way it is. That's that's what happened. So their resources were more. They came from other established settlements and colonies overseas. And so, like I said, they came here looking for resources and wealth, and they were going to get resources and wealth regardless. So that is, they knew at this point that was what was happening, and they were taking away their, you know, their religion. They were trying to wash it out and replace it with their personal laws. And so we're starting to see the different governments collide in 1637 with this war. Again, if you guys want to look up these wars, jot it down and take some time. It's very interesting stuff. I just don't want to run through all of it. It'll be information overload. Okay, so we're gonna jump to and mind you, this is something that I skip over too with this war. In 1610, there was a gruesome, awful winter, okay? In between all of this stuff happening, there was famine that was killing people off, like lack of resources, lack of medical care, lack of scientific developments, all that stuff was lacking. In 1610, they had what was called the starving time, because it was a gruesome winter, of which 400 English settlers, only 65 of them remained. So that's kind of an important thing to note when you're seeing these numbers. Like, they sponsored 6,000 settlers, and then 3 years later, this famine, or this winter came and pretty much wiped out all the English settlers. And only 65 of them remained, and get this, only 65 of them remained with a 20% survival chance. Out of 65, that is a lot. Pretty much all of them were going to die. Not all of them, but you get it. 20% survival rate is not good numbers. Okay. Then something I also skip over. In 1618, there was a system established called the Headright system. I'll write this. This is what we're working on, and this is what I'm going to talk to you about, because we're working under this for a very long time. The Headright system was a system that pretty much offered 50 acres of land for each settler, English settlers, who were establishing these colonies, who brought people over to the New World as slaves. They were being offered 50 acres of land for each of them, okay? Therefore, this was called an indentured servant, so not quite, I mean, it was slavery, but it was called an indentured servant because the law only said you had to be a part of this indenturement for 7 to 10 years. The catch-22 was, in that 7 to 10 years, a good majority of people died of dysentery or some other disease or lack of care or lack of health, things, life and liberty. They died of it. And so if you could make it through this 7 to 10 years, you would get what it was called freedom dues, and they would let you free, and you would either have enough money to purchase your own land. That was the hope, is that these people would have enough money to purchase their own land. However, some of the freedom dues did not cover that land. Miss Lojo, welcome in. And so I'll put with this Headright system. Thank you for your heart, Miss Lojo. Freedom dues. This is what they were looking forward to. And they were using this as a way to bring people over and pretty much take over. Make them fight in the army or whatever might be the case that they wanted to do to be able to take over this land. Sometimes, though, the freedom dues, it wasn't like a set amount of money. They're just like, in 7 to 10 years, Unfolded Rod, welcome in. They're like, after this set of money, thank you for your heart, me. You may or may not have enough money to get your own land or buy your own house or whatever might be the case. Miss Lojo, you reached level 3 in my fan club. Thank you. So this is important point to know that this is what was happening in the government, that these colonies were coming in, taking land, killing off people, getting into wars, doing all of this stuff. And one of the first things that they implemented, oh, thank you for using my sub stickers. And thank you for sharing the live, that this is what the government was operating on. Bring people over here, put them in indentured servants. And Miss Lojo, thank you for the donuts. And eventually, if in 7 to 10 years they're still alive, we'll give you more money to set them free. Okay, so, and 1629, the Massachusetts Bay Colony, thank you for the shares, engulfed the biggest part of the region of English settlement. That happened in 1629. Okay, so that's also important to note, is that the colonies were getting bigger and they were getting more people and they were establishing different laws because they were their own colony. So let's jump here. Like I was talking about, the indentured servants, we're going to jump to 1640. And we already talked about that. That was the first record of slavery being a thing. Okay. To give you a reference point for all of this that we probably know some about, is in 1614, actually 1613, really. 1613 is when Pocahontas was captured. 1614, she married a man named John Rolfe, not John Smith. Common misconception. And there was a period of peace between the indigenous people and the settlers. So that's kind of a reference point if you're wondering, like, where the heck are we in history right now? We are, we're in 1640, but Pocahontas was up here in 1613 and 1614. So part of that story was true. Yes, if anybody watched the second Pocahontas, thank you, Cassandra. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for the heart signal, Unfolded Road. So if you're curious about this time period that we're seeing unfold right here, check out Pocahontas 2 if you haven't already seen it. Lola, welcome in. Okay, so 1640. Then in 1644, we have another rebellion. Again, all of these rebellions were taken on by the indigenous people. It failed. They lost a lot of their people. And as they took down people through these battles, they expanded their colonies and grew more colonies. So as of 1644, there's a puzzle piece. Sorry, 2 seconds. Okay, as of 1644, there was only 2,000 remaining indigenous people. And they were forced post 1644, I'm going to write it. They were forced post 1644 to sign a treaty that only allowed them to settle in reservations that were west of Virginia. Because keep in mind, Virginia was the first colony, right? That was from that Spain inhabited 1607. So then, okay, Nora. So then, they had to sign this treaty basically confining them to only parts of the land, because at this point, enough of them had been taken, thank you, Cassandra, enough of them had been taken down through these rebellions that people were able to actually start settling and colonizing the new world. Okay. So, part of this treaty, right before this treaty in 1642, the indigenous people tried to slow down this colonization and being taken over by the governments. They tried to slow it down with legal penalties for people who tried to colonize. So they tried to come over. They thought at this point that they wanted to be, well, they did want to be the Native Americans. So they're like, they're going to take over and be like Native Americans. And so there was a legal penalty of 3 years hard labor for anybody who was trying to adopt Native American life and culture and religion. So anybody was trying to adopt, as in, I take it as like anybody was trying to take over. It was their effort to preserve what they already had there. Okay, so let's jump ahead. Yes, let's jump ahead. In 1691, let me write it for y'all. 1691. We see what is known as Plymouth Colony, another name you might recognize. That was founded in Massachusetts, but eventually Plymouth Colony was absorbed by Massachusetts Bay Colony that was founded in 1629 that we talked about earlier. It's okay, bowl cuts. No worries, no worries. Okay. Let's see where else we have here. In 1675, the settlers established laws of war that was strictly for their colonies. These laws of war was passed by the General Court of Massachusetts, since that was the first and original colony that was formed. Well, Virginia was. It was the second. Okay, so we're going to jump ahead. We are in the 17th century. Yes, we are here in the 17th century now. And let's start with 1763. Something called Pontiac's Rebellion happened. This is an important thing to note because there is it's not really much that happened between the, early 1700s and late 1700s. Except the 7-Year War. What is called, some people refer to it as the 7-Year War. The 7-Year War lasted actually 9 years, contrary to the name. Don't ask me why, I have no idea. But they called it the 7 Years' War, and it lasted 9 years between 1756 and 1763. And so basically the 7-Year War was following the French Indian War, remember, because the Spanish settlers. And that happened in 1754. And then the 7 Years' War came next in 1756, and it was the precursor to the American Revolution. Okay, so keep that in mind. The 7 Years' War was the first big, hey, we're getting fed up. We're tired of you coming here, stealing our land, doing all of this stuff. This is the first big war that we hear, minus the French Indian War. So the French Indian War happened, the 7-Year War happened, and the 7-Year War was a precursor to the American Revolution, which is kind of where most people kind of start getting a grasp on American history. Okay, so 1763, Pontiac's Rebellion. Let me tell you about that. It was an armed revolution that, of course, the indigenous people started, and it prompted British rulers to issue what is called the Proclamation Line, which was an attempt to eliminate future conflicts by restricting the expansion that the colonials could do. Okay, so they basically said, whoa, obviously this is going to be a problem. And after Pontiac's Rebellion happened in 1763, they said, okay, we're backing off because obviously they were starting to lose a lot of settlers, whether it was to natural causes or like dysentery, diseases, all the things. Whatever was happening, they were losing their people, and they're like, hey, we're not going to be able to uphold all these battles if we keep going into battle. So they said, we will put out this proclamation line establishing pretty much a line that will restrict where we cannot expand. So all your people stay over there, all our people stay over here. We're going to jump ahead again to getting close to the 18th century here. Okay. Actually, we are going to jump ahead to the 18th century, and we're going to go to 17. I skipped, but it's okay. I'll just write it. This is what was happening. Everything I just described, where people were like, hey, we're going to lose all of our people, and we're not going to be able to uphold all of this battle and all this stuff. It was referred to as the Great Awakening. The Great Awakening happened in 1730 and had a big hand in Pontiac's rebellion. Okay. The Great Awakening was a combination of a religious awakening and a government awakening. Okay. They started to realize that, hey, maybe the Bible says we're not supposed to come in and like take people's land. And okay, Heather, love you, girl. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you so much for coming. We're like pretty close to the end anyway. And you pretty much know how today's lesson's going to end. So, but yes, so, the Great Awakening started in 1730 and, thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the information. I hope everybody is. And so, in 1730, the Great Awakening starts, and they're like, hey, maybe we're not supposed to steal people's land and kill people and do all of this other nonsensical stuff. Okay? And they're starting to kind of get their wits about them, the settlers, not the government. The settlers are starting saying, maybe this isn't great. Maybe God wants something different, because remember, government was religion and religion was government. And so they're starting to kind of wake up to everything that's going on and realize, uh-oh. And then Pontiac's rebellion happened. And then to pacify people pretty much, they came up with the proclamation line. Okay, so jumping ahead again, a couple years to 1765, we are starting to see the formation of what we're going to be like, oh, I know what you're talking about now. This is a phrase that is not actually in the Constitution, I will say. But it is something that happened. I can't make all the words fit. But in 1760, let me make sure. Yeah, 1765, we're dealing with taxation without representation. But I don't want to cheer for it. There we go. That's the best one. Okay. So taxation without representation. This is where this was also part of the Great Awakening, which started in 1730 and it's still going. People are still like right on Folded Road. Yes, boo. So this is where you start to see enough people colonized and settled in the New World, and enough governments having their hands in the pots that they are like, hey, why are we being taxed for these goods and services that all of our money is going to Great Britain, and we're establishing all of our colonies here when we could be providing for our own and not have to pay all of these taxes? So I know Boston Tea Party comes to mind. It was a big part of it, but it was not the only thing. They were taxing clothes. They were taxing tea. So if you remember, if you've seen Hamilton, if you haven't, you will in 6 weeks. But if you've seen Hamilton, this is the part where he says, He says, you saw what happened when you taxed our tea. Imagine what's going to happen when you try to tax our whiskey. Okay, there you go. You'll hear me fit a lot of Hamilton lines, and then when you guys see it, your whole world will become a Hamilton reference. I promise that. Anyway, so yes, a lot of us know about taxation without representation, which was a grievance against British rule that led to the American Revolution. Okay, it was a huge grievance. It was one of the main grievances. And it led to them dumping the tea in Pearl Harbor, which I learned, I never knew, but I learned racked up like some $60,000 for all of them destroying, because they didn't just do tea, but it was a lot of tea that they dumped into the ocean. And Great Britain was like, what the heck are you guys doing? And this is the beginning where we start to see. Also in 1765, when people started to get unruly, okay, they established what's called the Stamp Act. Okay, this also came. Let me write it. Okay, Stamp Act. The Stamp Act was another taxation without representation. It was a form of taxation without representation. It was imposed as a direct tax on printed materials. So we're talking like everything anybody did, especially important people like lawyers and judges, okay, had to pay this tax on any printed materials in the American colonies. This affected legal documents, newspapers, playing cards, everything, okay? The tax was meant to pay for British troops. So again, they're like, why are we not seeing this money? What are we even paying for at this point? That were stationed in the colonies following the 7-Year War, okay? And it led to taxation without representation. No good. Boo. Okay. So this is where people start to get real unruly, y'all. Let me erase this. I'm going to erase this. If y'all want to take a screenshot, you can do it now. And 3, 2, 1. Okay. I'm going to take a break, catch my breath here. Thank you guys for 45.9K likes. I appreciate you. And all of the gifts. You guys, I was so surprised. I did not expect any of it, but appreciate every last one of them. Thank you, thank you. Okay. I'm erasing this so we can use this to go on. And we're almost concluded with today's lesson. Thank you, Sandra. I hope everybody is enjoying it. And I'm glad you are, because I love it too. Yes, Unfolded Road. I don't know how many of you guys were in here that's seen this. Let me flip y'all. Or wait, no, don't flip. Hang on. Unmirror. Hang on. And you can see my stuff while I write this. Okay. I don't know. It's not letting me do it now. Anyway, my mug says my tummy hurts and I'm mad at the government. Oh, it did do it. That's why it wouldn't let me do it. So there you go. That's my mug. Great. It's classic, y'all. Okay. All right. So now, after this, after the tea being hurled in the sea, another Hamilton reference, and all of these things that have started happening, we're going to start seeing key players come up into the box. Yay! Okay, we've had all these things happen. Everybody's settling. People are dying. They're doing all of these things, okay? 1774. So after people got fed up enough, we come to 1774. Anybody, take a wild guess what happened in 1774. Anybody got a good guess? Don't worry, I'll give you the answer. I'm not going to leave you hanging. Yes, Cassandra. 1774. Let me flip y'all around so you can see. 1774 is the first Continental Congress.
Wow!
I'm getting all giddy because this is my favorite part, you guys. We gotta pass. This is where it really starts to start. Okay, the first Continental Congress. Great. I actually have never seen that, but I really am gonna have to check that out. Is it streaming somewhere, Cassandra? Kaylee Brown, Tea Party was a good guess. That was like an ideology. It was a political ideology that came out during the Boston Tea Party. So you're partially correct on that. Because I'm going to check out that show. I actually haven't seen it, but I'll have to see if it's streaming. Cassandra, if you know, let us know. Because that would be great. So the first Continental Congress came up with the Intolerable Acts, which were a series of laws passed by the British Parliament. Okay, we are not HBO and Apple TV. Yes, I have HBO. Oh my gosh. I'm going to be busy tomorrow. Thank you for letting us know. If you guys are interested, John Adams, great show, and it is streaming on HBO and Apple TV. So you guys feel free to check that out. Let me know if you watch it, because I'm going to. Good with historical details. Wonderful. So the time period we're talking about, yes, you're starting to hear key players such as John Adams pop up because they're coming up with, well, ways to no longer be in the British Parliament. They're very, very close, okay? So the Intolerable Acts were passed by the British Parliament as a punishment, okay? Thomas Jefferson's an interesting character for people to be portraying. I feel like everybody does it a little different. So I'm excited to see how they do it. But these laws were punishment to Massachusetts colonists for doing the Boston Tea Party, okay, for hurling all the tea in the sea. They're like, you guys have to pay. And so a group of laws called the Intolerable Acts was passed, okay? This led the colonists to say, screw you, British Parliament. It's 1774. Get with the times. Like, we are calling a Continental Congress. This is the first time that all established colonies, there were 13, come together united on a united front. This is the first time we see everybody come together and say, we hate the British Parliament and what are we going to do about it? Okay, so that was the first Continental Congress. That's what happened. In 1775, getting warmer, you guys, 1775. Does anybody know what happened? So a year later, after the Continental Congress, they get together. They're like, screw the British Parliament. And this is the result. The American War for Independence. Okay, so now we are key players. We're at the very beginning of Hamilton, where they are cheering, cheers, 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 cheers. Everybody's getting excited. We are going to fight for freedom and liberty, and everybody who wants to come here, and all the indigenous peoples that were here before us, that were our ancestors, and they got screwed over by the British Parliament, and now we are going to fight. And yes, Cassandra, this is very literally what it is. Britain versus America. This is when the people said, enough is enough. We're done. All right, we're going to war, and we're claiming our independence, okay? That is what happened in 1775. Okay, in 1776, we're in January of 1776. During this time period, while America is fighting for their independence, I'm trying to think of the line. Hamilton says something to the effect of, if we claim our independence, we are going to assume posterity for everybody, right? And there's going to be a place where people can come and get what they need and get what they want. And yes, so I'll give you a hint what happens in January 1776. The Schuyler sisters talked about it. They said, this person, I've been reading this particular piece of literature. If you know it, you can put it in the chat. The Schuyler sisters said, I've been reading this, and I'm gonna go and I'm gonna tell the government to include women in the sequel. That's what we're talking about. This happened at the very beginning of 1776. It was something. It was a work. It was a work of writing that was published. Does anybody know what it is? Okay. Common Sense by Thomas Paine. Okay. If you haven't read anything, even a little glimpse, I will tell you, Common Sense by Thomas Paine this was when he published it, was January 1776. The reason he published it was because there were several people who were still very uneasy, even though we were in the middle of a war for our independence. They were very uneasy about saying, should we be independent from Britain? Because up to this point, Britain has established all of our laws, funded people coming here to settle, like they've done all of these things. So they were very uneasy because they were like, are we gonna make it? Because hella of y'all are dying of dysentery, okay? Like, not sure if we're gonna make it. So 1776, Thomas Paine actually said we need to be unified. He was talking about unification. Fairy godmother, welcome in. He was talking about unification of Great Britain and America, okay? And so he was saying if we must, like, we should err on the side of independence. Kind of what he said. If you are interested, go check it out. It's good stuff. Stuff that I like to read sometimes. It's good toilet reading. So, anyway, yes, the Schuyler sisters on the scene. Boom. Work. Okay. Y'all, you don't even know. I'm getting too excited. Anyway, so he publishes Common Sense. The Schuyler sisters are there. They're advocates. They're coming to say, you need to include women in the sequel. Fun fact. Oh my gosh. Yes, Cassandra. Man, don't we need to do that? That's for real. Man, I might try and figure out something. I won't be able to massively advertise it, but hey, I could let TikTok do its thing. Fairy godmother, thank you for using my subby stickers. So yes, Common Sense by Thomas Paine and the Schuyler sisters. Fun fact, women actually used to be able to have a ton of rights. Before one of these fights and stuff, they actually used to be able to inherit and own land. They could have their own money, all of that stuff. By 1776, that was not the case, okay? They had written them out so that only men pretty much were having the rights to own houses, own property, and all this stuff. So women were like, what the heck? And hence the Schuyler sisters coming out with their famous Hamilton song in 1776. Okay, so, as we're fighting, here's the next. As America is fighting, we're going to go to 1786, 10 years later. 10 years later, we have what's called Shays Rebellion. I'm writing it down for you guys. Shays Rebellion, 1786. Shays Rebellion was the call, okay? They're like, we're in this huge war for our independence. Thomas Paine's already wrote Common Sense, and we got the Schuyler sisters out here calling for women to be included in the sequel of the government because they were there before. and managing their money and managing their time and managing their land and all of that stuff and being women and taking care of their husbands and stuff. But men didn't like that. Anyway, so here we are. Shays Rebellion was the big announcement. Let me see. I got one for it, you guys. Big announcement. We want a new government. That's what Shays Rebellion was. It was the announcement that they were going for a new government, and it was led by indentured farmers in Massachusetts. Yay! It is yay. I started to get way excited. Woot woot. Yes, Cassandra. Yes, Unfolded Road. Woohoo! Yay for Shays Rebellion. These were a group of indentured farmers from Massachusetts who said, we're tired of being indentured and we're tired of the British Parliament. We need new government. And so this is our announcement that we are officially fighting to be independent and have a new form of government. Because prior to Shays Rebellion, actually, not prior to, I lied. So after Shays Rebellion, in 1777 to 1778, we have our first form of government. And bonus points for who can put in the chat, what was the first form of government called? Does anybody know? First form of government. This is where we see a real government take shape. We're talking like everybody in unity. They were under all of this. Your husband said he knows. Oh, yay! Did your husband know, Fave Ashley? Nice job, Fave Ashley. You now you know. Now you can tell your husband you know too. Yes, Cassandra, the first form of government was called the Articles of Confederation. The Articles of Confederation. The Articles of Confederation, you guys, dead. Terrible. No, nobody wanted it. Epic fail, okay? Nobody wanted it. It was scary. Yes, that's scary, okay? Everybody was like, what is this crap? All right? The Articles of Confederation were so terrible, you guys. They only lasted 10 years. 10 years. 10 years, and the Articles of Confederation were booted out. Booted out. Done with the Articles of Confederation. So, we had Shays Rebellion against the Articles of Confederation. And then, what happens next? Somebody shout it out. Anybody? What happens after we do away with the Articles of Confederation? Yes. What comes before, right? What did they do before, Cassandra? I'm shouting yes. I know, me too. I'm like drawing smiley faces on my paper. So in order to get to this, what did we have? Liz, welcome in. Welcome in. I promise we're about done with this. What did we have? We had the Articles of Confederation. We're like, we're doing away with it. Boop, out the door. What do we do? Not a war. This is still, let's say, we're going to say maybe the second song in Hamilton. Yes. The war, Fave Ashley, that was already going on, but this is now we're done with that. We've fought the war. We've established that we're independent, and we have the Articles of Confederation that lasted 10 years. And what we have now is the Constitutional Convention. This is the part in Hamilton where he comes out and he says, "I was chosen for the Constitutional Convention," and he's all excited about it because, hey, I'm telling y'all, if we have another constitutional convention in my lifetime, I'm all the way there. I'll go broke trying to get there. And also, fun fact, a constitutional convention is what would happen if, say, somebody, anybody, anything big happened and we said, we're starting over. We would have to have either a constitutional convention or 3/4 of the states to ratify a new constitution in place. Otherwise, the Constitution stands as is. So in September of 1787, we have a constitutional convention. Hamilton gets chosen to be part of it. And we start to see the greatest part emerge after this constitutional convention. Delegates, 13 delegates met in Pennsylvania to reverse the Articles of Confederation and ended up creating a new form of government. The delegates were mostly wealthy and mostly men. Again, why we see the Schuyler sisters with their little like, work. We're going to try and change that up, right? Because we've already been there before. Why aren't we making it that way again? But the delegates that were elected by the colonies to go forth and on their behalf and design a new form of government after the First Continental Congress were of the 13 original colonies, and 9 out of 13, let me just write this down here, 9 out of 13 had to say yes. So they sent 13 delegates, each from each of the 13 original colonies, and 9 of those delegates were required to say yes in order to ratify whatever happened at the Constitutional Convention. Okay? So Constitution Day, like we were saying, that is in remembrance of all of this that's happening. So they had the Constitutional Convention in 1788. What happened? Alex clocked at 13. Welcome in. What happens after we have a constitutional convention and 9 out of 13 people have said, yep, we're going to adopt this form of government? Yes, they did debate it. And after they debated it, because after the Constitutional Convention, and you'll see this in Hamilton, they're all debating, and he's getting in his face, and he says, why should Virginia have to bear the rest of the colony's debts? So yes, they had a huge debate. And then in 1788, we ratify it, right? We say 9 out of 13 of you agreed, at least, at minimum, and our Constitution is ratified. Okay, so yay, yes, and we see the Federalists versus the Anti-Federalists arise. I'm going to write that down. Because yes, this is where we're going to pick up next week. Because we've gone through all of the dates, all of history, all before, the 15th century to now we're in the 17th. We're towards the end of the 17th. And we're here. We have ratified our Constitution. We've fought for our independence. We've declared ourselves independent. We have 13 original colonies. Thomas Paine has published Common Sense. And Thomas Paine, the Schuyler sisters, Thomas Jefferson, Alexander Hamilton, man, I've been talking so long, I'm forgetting. All of the, thank you, Nina, for the heart me. Welcome in. All of the people, I'm so happy that I have 8 of you in here. All of the people are on stage right now. This is what's happening. We are now establishing 2-party system, right? Federalists versus the anti-federalists. And they have listed the Declaration of Independence. The Declaration of Independence was in 1776. So the same time Thomas Paine did his Common Sense document, the same time he published that, which he had to pay taxes on. Oh, it's okay, Nina. I got you, girl. Take care of them kids first. It's okay. We'll be here next week, and I'm putting it up on my Tube of You, so you can check it out when you have a minute. So the Declaration of Independence aired all the grievances they had against King George, right? And so our very first document that we see, that we reference, 4:08 a.m. Unfolded Road. I'm so happy you're here with me at 4:08 a.m. your time. Oh my goodness. You guys, Unfolded Road's in Africa. It means a lot to me that you're here. You can go blow everybody away with all your U.S. history now. So we have the Declaration of Independence that airs their grievances. That's what they say. We're done with you, right? And that's the very first document that we see in our Constitution is the Declaration of Independence. And it allowed them to announce that they wanted to sever ties with Great Britain. So here we are. And now we have our 2-party system. The Federalists, who were for what was called the Federalist Papers, we'll talk about them next week. Let me flip around so y'all can see my face for once. Oh my goodness. So we're going to talk about that next week. We're going to dive into the Federalist Papers. And we're going to move forward from there. So the Federalist Papers were published out of this movement. The people who were not for the Federalist movement or Federalist Papers, the Federalist Papers is kind of a fancy word for the Constitution. The Federalist Papers were a constitution, and then Alexander Hamilton, this is what, they say Alexander wrote the other 51. So you have like 3 guys, they come together, they're going to write these Federalist Papers. And then when Aaron Burr tells Hamilton, hey, this might get a little messy, he says the Constitution's going to need amendments. And so you see it being performed. So Federalists were people who were for the Constitution. Anti-Federalists were people who were against the Constitution. So that is pretty much what I had for you guys. It is a lot, and I'm 10 minutes over, so I apologize. Happy Constitution Day, you guys. I am so thankful that you spent it here with me. I was very excited to present this information. I have tons of good information. So I pray that you guys found this really enriching, and that you are anticipating. Thank you, Unfolded Road. I love my llama vibes. That you guys are anticipating the next section as we dive into now what has been born is America. And so we will start seeing as this unfolds, and we will start learning about, we're going to come all the way up in the next 6 weeks, all the way up to what is America now. Thank you, Cassandra. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I'm so happy you liked it. I have had a lot of anxiety that I was going to bomb it. So thank you. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for 57.6K likes. Thank you for just being here. Even if you came in at the last minute, thank you. Thank you for sharing it, liking it. Continue to share it. I'd love to spread the word and get more people in here, but I am totally okay if it is 6. I promise you guys. I'm just so thankful that you guys are here. So I'm excited. Does anybody have any questions? I know it was a lot. But the good news is it'll be up on YouTube for you guys to go back and read through. And I hope I covered a lot of ground I hope you guys learned something new. You can put it in the chat if you'd like. If something that you learned new. Alex clocked at 13. Hey girl. Thank you, Alex. Did anybody learn anything? Oh, super fan Fave Ashley's here. Hey, Fave Ashley. What'd you learn, Alex? What'd you learn? Let us know. Let us know. Good. I'm glad to hear it. Okay, well, if there is no questions, you can let me know. Babe Ashley. Well, hey, you're in the right place. You're in the right place, girl. You're in the right place. Thank you for being here. I appreciate it. That is my goal. I want to get, and pretty soon, like as we go, you're going to be like, oh my gosh, I get why this is this way. Because of a lot of things that you heard. And that is why I started so early on, was to kind of show you guys, like, this is how we got here. This is how we settled. This is, this America was not like new, like we hear a lot in history about like Christopher Columbus, and he had this long thing and a map, and some people said he didn't have a map and he just stumbled upon part of America, and like indigenous people were here and America was already established, just not as America. And so it's important to note that indigenous peoples were not something that like history just happened to either. While the things that did happen to them were horrible, and unjust and unfair laws that we've seen in a fight for land, it's important to note that it was a fight for land that they were trying to settle. And so a lot of this, not just settle, but take it. It's okay, Cassandra. It's okay. Thank you for being here. We're wrapping up. But yes, it's important to know that, note that, people were here and that they did take an active part in history, because, we don't know for sure if the indigenous peoples didn't start wars for their land out of insecurity, rightfully so. Please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Rightfully so that they want to defend what they had built, but it wasn't something that just happened to them. They took an active part in history, and in fighting for what they, for their beliefs and their land. And, there was even a huge battle where they took down a bunch of Christian churches and put up their indigenous places of worship when they won the battle. And so, there was triumphs for them too. I still believe that is very unfair what happened during that time. But the important part to note, where I'm heading with it, is kind of so you can see, how did our laws come about? Who was responsible for them? Why did they come about that way? And that's probably the most important part, is why and how. And so you can see through history, like, this happened and these people were here, and then this happened, and all the important parts of history, even down to like women's rights and the women's rights movement, that they inevitably undertake right now, right? Like, they are fighting for women's rights to have it back, because something that I didn't know and that I didn't realize was that women, in fact, did have rights to money and rights to land up until settlers came and they believed, because of religious reasons, that women should not have that. And that it should be, that it should be men. And then they passed down most of their land to their sons, and the women, the daughters, only got like possessions. So that's where we kind of see some of that, so I want you guys to both see the triumphs, the good things that have happened since the Constitution has been ratified and put into place, and the good things that it does for our society now. I think that's hard in this time for people to see. There are good things that they had now. And there are also things that could be improved upon that I think, have been there kind of since the beginning of time, that we do not have a perfect system. And so I want to be able to show both sides of the story, I guess is what I'm saying. But here we are. I am super excited. We have ratified the Constitution. And I'm very excited to move forward. And we have 60.2K. Thank you, Unfolded Road. And so I'm going to leave you guys with this. I hope you come back. I hope I haven't bored you to death. I thank you very, 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 very much for coming in and being here and dropping your gifts. Oh my gosh, that meant so much to me. I couldn't believe how much was popping off, you guys. Your heart me's, all of that stuff. There in the beginning. Yes, Cassandra, and lovely to see you too, Unfolded Road, and I do look forward to next week. So, next week we're going to go into what happens after the Constitution was ratified, and we'll talk some more, and I will come up with the next, I already have it. I know what we're going to talk about. In fact, I can give you a heads up, so if you want to be thinking about it. Since we finished up today with the Constitution, we are going to take a look at the U.S. Thank you, Alex. Bicameralism is what it's called. WUSA, Unfolded Road. Thank you. Checks and balances, Congress, more about the Constitution and the U.S. legislative process and presidential powers. Don't let that scare you away, guys. You're going to want to know it. So we're going to come to, that. And with that, I leave you with, that's what we're going to talk about in week 2. There's going to be some fun stuff when we're going to talk about like laws and creating laws. And I'm just a bill. Yes, I'm only a bill. And I'm sitting here on Capitol Hill. Oh, okay. Don't get me started on School Rock, guys. Schoolhouse Rock. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Great stuff, okay? There's not just government on there either. You got conjunction, junction, what's your function? Hooking up words and phrases and clauses. Okay, y'all, tell me to stop. Let me let y'all get out of here. Yes. But we're going to look at all of that stuff. So we got a lot of ways to go, you guys. 6 more weeks. And I'm excited. We'll have some more interactive stuff that you guys will be able to do, and learn. So I hope you guys got something. Thank you for 60.5K. I know I'm 20 minutes past. I appreciate y'all staying. Thank you, Unfolded Road. I'm glad. That was my whole purpose. So claps for yourselves for sitting No, 2 hours, 6:30, 7:30. Yes, 2 hours. All right. With that, I'm gonna let y'all go, and I hope y'all have a wonderful night. Thank you again for being here, and I will catch y'all on the flippity flip. Bye.